Kim Iverson joins us for this next segment. Good morning, Kim. Welcome back.
Good morning. It's great to be back. Great to see you guys. And I'm wide awake because I got to sleep in.
So what time were you getting up for the conference call early before?
Oh gosh, 3:00 in the morning, LA time. Yeah. So that was pretty early. So today I got to wake up at 6:30, which was really nice. It was like normal. I feel like a normal human being today. So
yeah,
it's nice.
That is civilized at least.
Yes, normal human hours. So. Well, we do have some things to talk about because Friday, House Democrats passed a bill codifying nationwide access to abortion after the Supreme Court declined to hear a challenge to Texas's highly restrictive Heartbeat Act. The next step for the bill is the Senate, where it is expected to stall. But what made headlines over the weekend was a press conference on the steps of the Capitol that devolved into a screaming match when Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene began heckling some House Democrats, always classy. She and Representative Debbie Dingell traded some serious barbs, all in front of reporters. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Killing a baby up until birth is a lack of civility. It's called murder. Hey, how about the border down there? Lack of civility. How about lack of laws or protecting and upholding our Constitution?
And you should practice the basic thing you're taught in church. Respect your neighbor.
Church? Are you kidding me? Try being a Christian and supporting life.
Try being a Christian and try
support life. Decently. Watch your step, lady. You're going to fall down. Control yourself.
It's just crazy that lawmakers, the whole process is to make laws and to do it ideally in a civilized way. And of course, the two sides aren't going to agree with one another. But what is Marjorie Taylor Greene doing, walking out of the Capitol and then just heckling her colleagues?
And this was her mode of activism for several years ahead of being elected to Congress. We've seen video of her. Who is she chasing around? Ocasio-Cortez chasing her around the Hill. Also chasing around, some other kind of liberal activists and going, with her cell phone, like trying to create footage, which is okay, fine. Like that's what activists do. It's interesting to see that kind of approach to politics, brought in as a member of Congress to the steps of the Capitol.
But I don't think we shouldn't pretend this is necessarily new, right? The idea that a government used to function and everyone was always really nice to each other. Like, who was the one that was it Charles Sumner who was caned on the steps of those same steps?
Oh my gosh!
Right?
No,
he was beaten with a cane, or he was doing the beating.
No, Sumner was actually caned on the Senate floor. By a South Carolina Democratic congressman, right? Ahead of 1858,
right?
1856, because it actually really helped the Republicans in that first presidential election.
And political ads have always been incredibly negative. This person has an illegitimate child. This person, that kind of stuff.
And not just that, they pro-slavery senators straight up murdered an anti-slavery Democratic senator from California, where they kind of rigged a duel, which duels were a big part of it. There were tons of the pistol whippings and other fights on the floor, like literally on the floor of the House of Representatives. This was all leading up to a civil war, though. So if we're going to say, well, it's nothing out of the ordinary, well, nothing out of the ordinary leading up to a civil war. So, but Kim, I don't think, for a lot of different reasons, we're not headed in that direction. I don't think.
I would hope not, but I've been surprised for the last couple of years. It seems like every turn, I just continue to be surprised. So I don't know. I mean, ideally, no, we don't head to that. But certainly we have an erosion in our public discourse. And when we have our congressional leaders now, especially with social media and with how quickly we're able to get information. I mean, back before the Civil War, obviously, a lot of those types of squabbles and beyond squabbles, I mean, actual terrible things that were going on in Congress weren't really making it towards the public knowledge. But now with social media and with just how quickly we get all of this information. I mean, just watching it happen in real time and watching them act like school children, yelling at each other, it really amplifies that behavior, I would think, and that more and more people who identify with either side are going to start acting that way. And that really concerns me. I certainly don't want to continue on living where, right now it already is kind of as we know, hard enough as it is, where depending on where you live, mask versus no mask, right? Like when I go to Idaho and I wear my mask, people are like, what are you doing wearing your mask? And I come to California and I'm not wearing a mask and walking my dog. What are you doing? Why aren't you wearing a mask? I don't know if we want to really amplify that sort of behavior of yelling at one another.
And it's a good thing we don't have duels anymore, because there would, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Dingell would have to duel. You'd have to duel with anybody in Idaho, confronting you about wearing your mask. But Dingell's wasted no time turning this into an opportunity for self-promotion, tweeting that there were two lessons to be learned. One, be a good neighbor, and two, don't mess with a Michigan woman. I think one question will be, after this midterm election, are we going to see more Marjorie Taylor Greenes, or are we going to see fewer? And basically we've got Boebert, who's now Lauren Boebert from Colorado, who's facing a very, very serious ethics investigation that it looks like she used campaign money to fund her life. And both she and Marjorie Taylor Greene are going to face redistricting. Republicans control redistricting in Georgia, but they're not really happy that she's kind of becoming the face of the Georgia Republican Party. Democrats have a chance to come after Boebert in next term. Kim, what do you think? We're going to have more MTG and Boeberts after the next midterms, or fewer? Is this the future of the Republican Party, or is this just kind of a blip?
Yeah, I think it's sadly the future. I think it's the future for both parties, actually. It seems like the loudest voice in the room gets all the attention. So the more outlandish you could be, the more aggravating to the other side, then you're kind of viewed as an activist congressperson, like you mentioned. And yeah, I think that makes the news. That trends you on Twitter. People like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there used to be a sense that, right, the activist is outside the government, drawing attention for their cause, and then the political figure has to make has to look good, not do embarrassing things like this. And now there's just a merging of those personas because, this is reality television, this is entertainment. That's Donald Trump embodies that trend of the blending of our entertainment and our news media and our actual literal politics. And I don't see that trend going away. The ability for these types of figures to get real-time feedback from social media and other they're building a brand, and actually governing the country is very, very much an afterthought.
Right.
And so meanwhile, fallout from the Texas Heartbeat Act continues. Over the weekend, Fox News' Chris Wallace challenged Governor Greg Abbott over his claim that the state would, quote, eliminate rape before it allowed special exceptions to the Heartbeat Act.
Survivors of sexual assault, they deserve support, care, and compassion. And Texas is stepping up to make sure that we provide that by signing a law and creating in the governor's office a sexual assault survivors task force. Yeah. But separately from that, Chris, I got to point out about the ways that I have fought to to arrest and apprehend and try to eliminate rape. I sought the death penalty.
But Governor, excuse me, because we are running out of time. There were more than 15,000 rapes in 2019 when you were governor.
Right. And also, Kim, how does he say that with a straight face when there are so many rape kits that still haven't even been analyzed by the state of Texas? They have decided that they just don't want to prioritize that issue.
Yeah, it's really bizarre that he thinks he can eliminate rape, and then he says, we're going after all of these rapists and we're putting them behind bars, but look, you can't go after a rapist and put them behind bars until they've actually committed rape. So it's, does he think that we're going to live in a minority report sort of society where they can spot the rapist prior, and then they could say, okay, well, we know you're about to, or we know you're thinking about it, and so we're going to go ahead and eliminate your ability to do this by putting you behind bars. It's just such an odd thing for him to be thinking he can do, eliminate rape. Yeah, I would love to eliminate it if there was a way to do it. I would like for him to shed some light on how.
Well, we'd love to wave a magic wand and eliminate it, but in practice, sometimes what we're talking about is more law enforcement, more police, less due process, those kinds of things that raise civil libertarian concerns. So it's not, you can't just cheaply solve the problem.
But as Kim says, that's all after the fact of the actual crime having been committed. So of course, it is great to arrest and prosecute and convict 100% of rapists, but you still have rape.
Right.
Like they still, as Kim says, they still committed the crime. So just pretending that you're going to eliminate the crime from the face of the earth is just just ridiculous and offensive to like the intelligence of everybody watching. But anyway, tomorrow on Rising, Jennifer Holdsworth Karp and Rachel Bovard join us for Team Rising to discuss the big news of the day.
Plus, Amy Vila, a progressive Democrat running for Congress in Nevada, will be here to tell us about her campaign. Thank you for joining us today, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
See you tomorrow.